G'day everybody and welcome back to my Aussie gardening kitchen. If it's your first time here, my name's Darren, but please call me Daz. And in this video today, we're just going to do a bit of a garden tour. As you can see by the colour of these leaves here, I'm about a week and a half away from winter. So all the leaves are falling off the plants and everything's starting to slow down for the winter mode. So let's go check out all my berries and veggies and I don't know, native plants and bits and pieces that I've got going on here. Let's do it. So the orchard is looking a bit sad. It's obviously going into its winter mode. So you've got different stages. You've got, say, the pear tree behind me, where leaves are starting to discolor and drop off, just like the Stella cherry here. And then you've got my plum here, my Santa Rosa plum, which has completely lost its leaves, as have the peaches and a few other things. And then down behind me, the apricot and some of the other cherries have still got their leaves. So it won't be long though before this is bare and it looks very, I don't know, post-apocalyptic. And then if you look down on the floor, it looks shocking, I tell you what. I'll just pan down for you. So as you can see, the floor of the orchard is absolutely covered in stuff, just all over the place. So it's a combination of falling leaves, plus I've done a lot of pruning. So I've got branches that I'm letting dry out. And little mama over there, she comes in and she has a good scratch around. In fact, she hasn't come in here, she lives in here. This is her home. If you didn't know, this is an enclosed orchard as I bang my head. So if you can probably see, I've got netting all the way around and framework. So nothing can get in here. And she's protected from predators and things like that. So as you can see down this end, these cherries have still got their leaves, but they're all discoloring and they'll be gone soon. Apples on the tree, which are absolutely useless. They've been totally penetrated by fruit fly and they're absolutely useless. So I'm just feeding those to the chickens. If we come through here, the apricot still has its leaves, but they'll be gone soon. My beautiful pink ladies, unfortunately, every single one of them was attacked by fruit flies way before I got the netting on them. I do have exclusion bags, but I was too slow and they've all been ruined, every single one. So this is all pretty much chicken food now. You might be able to make out the espaliered plum that I've got here with the branches coming out each way. Just moving things back. That pear's doing fine that I'm growing on a fan shape along the wire at the back there. Here's my second apricot that I'm growing wide along the wire, kind of like a fan shape. And that's shutting down for winter. Citrus are doing okay. The mandarin here, I think, needs magnesium, which I can fix up. I can do something about that. And then we've got some oranges here, young oranges that I'm growing all the way down the outside of the orchard. And in fact, I do have some oranges. They're a seedless Valencia. I actually picked off the flower buds on a lot of these citrus because I wanted the energy to go into the plants and get them to grow a bit more this year. So again, for another season, I won't have that much orange or mandarins growing. Sorry, I've got a dog here. What are you doing, Loop? Wanting attention. So yeah, I've picked off the buds, so hopefully these will grow a bit better and I won't get as much fruit growing in them. What, Loop? What, Loop? My walkway that I created behind me that you may have seen in other videos, where I've got grapes growing over on one side and I've got propagated blackberries growing up on the other side. It's doing well. Things are shutting down again. The grapes, for instance, they're losing their, or the leaves are discoloring and they're starting to disappear now for winter. They'll go dormant and look pretty sad and then come back to life in spring and hopefully give me grapes next season. So at the start of this archway that I made, I've got a Satsuma plum, which is going dormant, and which is a red Japanese plum. And I've got an AOK plum, which is another red plum, and that's also in a grow bag here. And I've got a Granny Smith here, which I really need to get out into the ground. So stay tuned, because I really need to get this guy into the ground somewhere. So just at the end of the walkway, I've got the macadamia. And hopefully, in a few years, we'll get some macadamia nuts from that. They're so expensive, so I'm really looking forward to growing my own. This passion fruit is doing so well. it's not grafted, so I shouldn't get suckers coming up out of the soil, the sandy soil that I have here. And the plan is that I've got the wire running along here, all the way across to the archway, and then that passion fruit is going to grow up and across to the archway, to that walkway where I can walk through. And then ultimately I want it to actually come up, and if I spin it around, I'm going to fix wire, or I don't know what yet, something along the roof line here, and I'll actually have the passion fruit coming up over, how do I do it? Coming up over this way to the house from that wire behind me. So it should be pretty cool. There she is. That's the third one that lives in this yard, and yeah, she's obviously leaving us breakfast for tomorrow. This is one of my container grow bag sections, and as you can see, I've got celery and capsicums, or peppers as people say overseas, and some chilies, and I don't know, I think I've got carrots, actually volunteer carrots, popping up in the base of that one there, and the base of the capsicum there, or bell pepper as people say. This is awesome. This was what was thought to be tomato seeds, but it now looks like they're actually guava seeds. And Neil from Cool Climate Tropical Fruits sent me these. So hopefully I might have actual guavas growing, and I'll separate these soon into their own pots and grow my own guavas. As you can see with the butternuts, they're struggling now with the frost, and it's just that time of year. Powdery mildew kicked in, as you can see here. Powdery mildew. So yeah, they're pretty much done anyway, so I've just let them go and left them to the fate of the weather. But yeah, they're ripening and curing, and yeah, they'll be good. Looking forward to these. Marigolds are still going. Don't you love marigolds? More of my chili peppers. You'll see lots of chili peppers. These ones I just leave out over winter, and they seem to be protected by the side of the house, and I guess the warmth from the bricks also helps them too. They need watering at the moment, but yeah, chili peppers, I'll cut these back anyway for winter, and next spring, summer, lots of chili peppers. These mortgage lifter tomatoes have really had their day. They got horrendously attacked by fruit fly. I've just let them go while I've been doing other stuff, and quite honestly, I've just been lazy and not gone in and pulled them out, and you can actually see that they've had this spurt of life and they've actually started to flower. So I'm really tempted just to leave them there, but who knows what's going to happen with the weather that's coming. Lemon tree's doing okay. As you can see, I grow it flat against the fence. That's the mother plant of all my thornless blackberries. Every single blackberry that I grow here now are all propagated from this one mother plant. Might be a bit hard to make out, but the mulberries, dwarf mulberry there, dwarf mulberry there. I've got this mulberry here, and there's another one there that's gone completely dormant. They're all shutting down now for winter, losing their leaves. Frost damage on the leaves there, on the mulberry. That's fine. It's going to shed its leaves anyway for winter. This pearl passion fruit, it's struggling. This is the one of the two that the dog ripped up and ran around the yard and ate. So it got repotted, and as you can see, I've neglected it. There's grass everywhere. I really need to try and fix it up a bit, but it looks like it's coming back. So yeah, when winter's over, I'll get stuck in and see if I can actually encourage this to grow better. This is my Santa Rosa tomato cull. They're done, gone. And what I did was I've been collecting some of the green ones and ripe ones, and I've got a lot more inside, and I'm going to do probably a green tomato chutney relish with the green ones. That's one of my brassica beds with a very nice rosemary in the corner. As you can see, I've got young brassicas in here. It's a combination of broccoli, collie, and cabbages. Mostly broccoli. As you can see, strawberry runners have made their way all the way into this garden bed. They've gone through the wire, through the fence, and that's from this massive strawberry patch that I have here, which is a whole bunch of grow bags and pots on tables and benches. This bed here is being prepped for onions, and you can see I've got some spring onions, green onions, whatever you want to call them. And with these ones here, I just cut them off at the ground when I need them, and they regrow. So they're new ones that have grown here. I think they've actually self-seeded, those little ones there. But these thicker ones here, man, these are like the 4th or 5th generation where I've just cut them and they've regrown. This is my garlic bed, one of my garlic beds, and I've just noticed the chickens have got into it. Little rat bags. So yeah, I've got the netting to stop the chickens from getting into the garlic, but as you can see, they dug it up anyway. So I've got garlic there, and I've got potatoes here that actually need to come up out of the ground. Have to do that today. This garden bed here is more brassicas, some that I planted earlier and some that I've done recently. So I've got succession planting happening, and self-seeding carrots all in here. Every year, these just self-seed, and I just pick carrots at will. And I've got some dwarf beans down the back there. More garlic here in a grow bag. And mice and rats ate a whole bunch of these and I had to replant them. But it looks like I've got some shoots coming up now, which is fantastic. More potatoes in a grow bag. Can never have enough tomatoes. Can never have enough potatoes growing. Greenhouse is empty at the moment, but that's going to be getting a workout over winter. Pumpkin patch is just about done. As you can see, the frost is really getting stuck into it. But there's still a few pumpkins in there, still growing. So I'll leave them as long as I can. All right, it's getting a bit late and I've already seen kangaroos over at the back, so I better record this before it gets too dark. So yeah, raspberries, they're not looking too flash, but they're at the end of their life cycle now. And you can see the 2 garden beds there. They need to be cut back down to the ground. And if we look over here, we've got this one here as well. The same story. They need to be cut back, and you can see the color there that they're pretty much affected by frost, but that's fine because they're pretty much done. Although they have been producing fruit right up until this week. In fact, there's some there that are still ready to grow. That's unreal. Potatoes here that have been eaten by chickens and grown over by weeds. I'll dig those up probably in the next couple of weeks. Compost bay is doing well. Lovely. Hopefully that'll be compost for spring, summer. Hopefully. And I'm starting to work on a new one here. More potatoes. I think I've already said that you can't get enough potatoes, but there you go. More potatoes. Not sure what's going in there. Oh, hello. Well. It looks like I've got volunteer potatoes. I was just about to say, I'm not sure what's going in this bed, but looks like I have at least some potatoes there. Here I am under the olive trees, and as you can see, there's just olives galore. I think I just dropped one on me. Yeah, it's crazy. I really need to get myself organized and get an olive press, which I still don't have yet. Costs a bit of money and I'm not there yet. But yeah, the amount of olives that are just going to waste at the moment is crazy. We do encourage neighbours to take them, and family members, my in-laws and stuff like that, to come and grab as much as they can. But yeah, hopefully when I can get some dollars happening, I want to get an olive press and yeah, sit down and make my own olive oil, because there's just, I don't know, I think there's 9 olive trees maybe here in this row. And every year we just have an absolute abundance of them. It's just awesome. And I love it because of the native birds. The native birds love the olives. So we're always getting birds in these trees, and it's just beautiful. So here's my messy outdoor entertaining area. And this is where I grow in a lot of containers and pots, where I propagate a lot of things. So with my entertaining area, I like to keep things out here that are very easy to get to for the kitchen. So herbs and, I don't know, things like strawberries. I like to grow the strawberries in here. It's a lot easier to manage them with pest control. I can just come out of the door at night time with a flashlight, torch as we say here in Australia, and I can check for pests. And it's normally slugs and earwigs, and millipedes. And I can get in here and pick them out at night and get rid of them. And it's just a lot easier to manage things that are close to the door. So when it comes to herbs, I've got sage growing in here, and you would have seen the rosemary that was just in the garden bed down below this. I've got more rosemary growing here. Spinning around, I've got peppermint growing here. I've got mint growing in here. Coming over to this side, we've got thyme, fresh thyme. Don't you love thyme? Oh, I just had to sniff that. We've got fresh thyme spinning around. This is my curry tree. So that's my curry leaves that I use for mainly Indian curries. Malaysian and Indian curries is what I use this in. I use it in some stir fries. I do like it chopped up in a stir fry, some stir fries. And it's actually starting to fruit, as you can see there. So I might have a go at propagating these and, yeah, maybe grow a few more curry trees. Don't know what I'll do with them, but why not, hey? If we spin right around to the other side again, you can see I've got my chili peppers here, an abundance of chili peppers, and they do me with all my curries and my stir fries, and I'll probably make another chili sauce and a few other things with them this season. And of course, jalapenos. You gotta love jalapenos. Look at that, aren't they great? Love jalapenos. And this one here and this one here are actually from last year, and I just cut them back and I left them here over winter, and they did not look good at all, but as you can see, they came back, and they're not the greatest looking plants, but I'll tell you what, they have been producing for me, and I've just had an abundance of jalapenos for, gee, the last few months. It's been fantastic, and these are small. They're actually a lot bigger than that when I pick them. As you can see, I've got dwarf beans growing here, as well as in the garden bed outside in the other yard. And I've got an eclectic range of things here. I mean, I've got peanuts. I've got peanuts that I need to harvest there, and you would have seen the bananas that I've got over the back here, and I don't know. Of course, I've got my strawberries. I've got strawberries everywhere. The strawberries growing in that raspberry pot there. The strawberries growing in there. That's actually a tayberry, the spiky one that goes up the back there. I've got a tayberry that's growing up through the rosemary. This thing here, this I cut as a branch from next door, sticking through the fence. I don't know what it is. It produces a purple flower. It's absolutely beautiful. But this thing here, it's just a branch that I stuck in the ground, and it's in its third year now, where it just comes back and grows me the most beautiful purple flowers out of each one of these. Awesome. Please let me know in the comments down below if you know what this is. But yes, the strawberries, as you can see, I've got tables here all joined together, and I just have an abundance of strawberries. There's so many strawberries. I've got them propagating in little containers here. You can see there, I've got more propagating there with the runners. And speaking of runners, check this out. There's like a waterfall of runners. It's just crazy. More in the pot down there. More strawberries growing in this pot here. They're growing in the bases of my jalapenos. They're just going nuts. Amongst this, I've got pine berries and strasberries. And if you haven't seen my videos, I've got videos on my channel where I got gifted pine berries and strasberries from Neil at Cool Climate Tropical Fruits. Awesome YouTube channel here in Australia. And I've got them growing in here because you need to grow pine berries and strasberries in with strawberries to get fruit. I have just random flowers growing in a container here for pollinators, as well as in the back there, I've got another one that has flowers for pollinators. Over on the other side of the strawberries there, I've got bearded iris and bird of paradise, and the strawberries are taking over. Another baby macadamia growing in here. There's a couple of blueberries here, which I need to get into bigger pots and encourage them to grow. So there's a shot there of all the different strawberry runners that I've got going in pots. Getting myself more strawberry plants, free strawberry plants. I've got more strawberries growing in pots here with these blueberries, which are cut right back. Baby celery that popped up, so I've just got them growing in an ice cream container. Oh look, more strawberries, as if I didn't have enough. The black currant, it's not looking the best, but it did produce fruit, which was pretty cool. So that's got to go out of this bag and into the ground at some point. A couple of raspberries here that really need to go out into raised garden beds. So that's another job I need to get on top of. Saffron, the world's most expensive spice. I've got that growing here in this grow bag. I've already had a couple of flowers and harvested some. And I've got more shoots coming up into the ground, or out of the ground at the moment. So hopefully there'll be some more flowers coming soon. And I will have a video on this in the near future. This is my bay tree, So I'm pretty excited to be growing my own bay leaves. That is very cool. And also grow a bunch of native plants here as well. You've got to look after the local birds and the bees, the pollinators, and it's just fantastic coming out here and seeing these beautiful plants. And these ones, these Protea, are a South African native, but they're very much well matched with Australian natives, and yeah, they do really well in our climate. And as you can see, the pollinators just love them. I've also got some random things growing under the grow light, where I've got some celery and sweet potato slips. Not really a great time of year to be growing them, but I'm going to have a bit of fun and see if I can actually grow them over winter in a hothouse. I've got to make the hothouse, but we'll see how we go. I really should have a lot more vegetables growing here, but unfortunately, we're still at the back end of a rodent plague, a mouse and rat plague that we had here after severe floods. And not only did they wipe out my orchard and just destroy so much fruit, and I missed out on so much fruit this past season, but they got into my vegetables. They ate seeds in the ground and they ate seedlings, and it was just terrible. And I'm still recovering from that. I've still got a bit of, pest pressure from the mice and rats, but I am trapping them and I am getting rid of them. So things are starting to improve. But unfortunately, it's really ruined my season ahead because I just have not been able to grow as much as I'd like to. So thankfully, that's why I like to be prepared and store a lot of my foods that I grow here. Because in the case of the fruit, for instance, I didn't have really any apricots and plums at all, only a handful. But thankfully, because I preserved them the year before, we had an absolute abundance of plums and apricots and peaches, for instance, stored in jars inside, and we still do. So, yep, it's so important to actually preserve what you grow because you just never know what's going to happen. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to click on this video that's appearing on the screen right now. I thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I will see you in either the next cooking or gardening video. Bye for now.